sure.
Do you condemn it?
Yes, of course. I condemn any rape of anybody.
He said,
Of course.
yes, of course. And then Muhammad Hijab, why did you say I do not expect him? Shouldn't you apologize for it? And here's the thing, it's so weird that he doesn't even know these people. I mean, I know, I watched some Piers Morgan. I have seen Alan on some debates before. I know enough that this is so easy for them to condemn. Like, did Muhammad Hijab honestly think that Piers and Alan are going to come here and be like, no, we do not condemn rape of Palestinian prisoners? We do not condemn that? Like, that's his expectation? Like, what are you? Oh my God. This guy.
People remember the beginning more than the replies. He says, you wouldn't do this, and that's it. That's because he's shouting it.
Yes.
That leaves an impression.
Right.
That's
Yes.
it.
Yeah. But they don't see the defeat. Like, here's the thing: when you are humiliated, when your ass is handed to you so spectacularly like this, and when you're embarrassed in front of an audience, what Muhammad Hijab has discovered, what you have to do is to just stand strong, keep showing a defiant face, act like nothing has happened, act like you're still the winner, and the audience will judge who's winning based on appearances, right? They see your confidence, they see your tone, and they think, well, he's not winning. Look at him. I mean, he's not losing. Look at him. He's obviously the winner here. He knows if he stands defiant. This is exactly what Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Islamic Republic is doing right now, right? Israel is like taking out all their leaders. They come destroying a huge percentage of their arsenal, and they're like, "Oh, we are winning! Israel is being humiliated. We will annihilate Israel." That's exactly the Islamic model. Just act like you're always winning, even if you're losing, because it's all about appearances. Yeah. Anyways, continue.
In any assault on anybody who's in captivity.
And you also condemn the right of rape protest that took place in Israel. And you acknowledge that there's a problem in Israel with this.
Place, they will be investigated. They will be fully investigated. They will be court-martialed.
Do you acknowledge that there's a problem in Israeli society?
If anybody is convicted of that,
there's a problem.
Look, so he's just moving. He's just moving. Do you acknowledge that there's a problem? So he's just moving. So he's trying to distract. He's moving the goalposts. Like, hey, Roy, I will accuse you of beating your wife. Like, well, actually, I have cameras in my home, and my wife is happy with me, and I have evidence that never happens. Like, well, Roy, do you acknowledge that there's a problem in your family? You have problems in your family. Like, what the hell? You just made an accusation that you have no evidence for, and now you're just trying to distract the audience by moving to something else. Like,
also,
do you acknowledge that there's a problem?
He's talking about a demonstration that had a few thousand people in it. So it's not the Israeli society that is defending the soldiers.
But protests in a country shows the health of a society.
Yeah.
The fact that you have
3 million Israelis were protesting in defense of the soldiers, that would be interesting, right? Okay, what's going on here? But it was a few thousand people. It's not like it's not this problem in society.
I see a society that has protest, a healthy society. Okay, I think like Israel, even if you're an Israeli that disagrees with the protesters, as I sometimes disagree with some of the protesters, the fact that you have a culture that people get out when they have complaints with the government, you should welcome that. You should want that, even if you don't agree with them. Yeah.
But it still depends. You don't want millions of Israelis to support rape. So
yes. Oh, you're talking about the pro-rape.
The pro-rape demonstration. The protest. It was a very small one.
Yes, that was a very small. Okay, I completely misunderstood what you said. I thought you were talking about the other larger, because I was like,
no.
Is he talking? I thought you were talking about those huge, large protests that people came against Netanyahu, and the whole idea of like removing the wall between the parliament and the judiciary. I thought you were talking to. I was like, that was not a small protest. That was a giant protest.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
you're
no, it
talking
was.
about the smaller protests regarding people defending the soldiers. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
someone in the comments says maybe the demonstrations were about the innocence of the soldiers. Yeah, it could be. I don't remember it
Yeah.
like
I
that.
don't think. Yeah, but based on what I've seen, the protesters were not like.
Yeah,
I mean, they're wrong. I don't agree with the protesters. I think a lot of the people who are protesting, they're like, there's no proof that the soldiers did this, even though we have videos of it.
yeah.
Okay?
They said that they
But they're not
shouldn't
saying.
be arrested. That's what they said.
Okay, but
Yeah,
they're wrong. Anyways, we don't agree.
they're wrong. Of course, they should be arrested. Should be arrested, and like
Yeah.
everything, if there's a something, you arrest them and you check it out. Of course.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I mean, if he wants to refer to protests like he should as something as a problem in society, then we could also refer to all the pro-Hamas protests in the UK that he also supports, right? So you're like, oh my God, look at there's a problem in Israeli society because some people came into the streets and they were protesting in defense of the soldiers that did the rape. Like, okay, yeah, that's a problem. However, what you yourself, Mohammed Najab, took part in protests in UK in defense of Hamas,
Yeah.
who raped many Israelis on October 7th. So you were part of a bigger like pro-rape march, like compared to that one. Anyways, let's continue.
They deserve their
Do you
punishment.
acknowledge that there's a problem?
What about the problem with Hamas raping women?
I have no compunction.
Oh, that's it. That was my point. Yes, exactly. You support Hamas.
I have no compunction condemning Hamas for anything that they've done. You've said that. You've asked me before, and I've told you before. I have no moral scruples.
No. He's not, like This is a sneaky way that they get around. They don't actually condemn Hamas, right?
Of course.
So every time you ask him to condemn Hamas, they say if Hamas has done certain things, we will condemn those things.
Yeah. Or I don't have a problem condemning.
I don't have a problem condemning anything that Hamas does if it's killing of civilians or raping, blah, 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 raping civilians, right? But they never say, I condemn Hamas. They just say, I don't have a problem condemning this, and that action, with the understanding that these accusations to their own fans and followers that I didn't condemn Hamas because we don't believe that Hamas does this to civilians. And Israelis are not civilians anyways. They're militant occupiers, every single one of them, given that they serve in the military, right?
Yeah.
So remember, every time...
Sorry, a comment. Do you condemn Hamas? I condemn bad things.
Yes, I condemn anybody who murders civilians. So you never actually hear the phrase, I condemn Hamas. Just pay attention to that, guys. If you actually hear the phrase, I condemn Hamas, they say, I will condemn anybody that does this. And with the understanding that, well, Hamas hasn't done that thing. Yeah.
Neither do the majority of the Muslim world. I tell you now, anything that Hamas has done, we have condemned in the first instance. But we're not seeing the same level of coverage.
Anything that Hamas has done, we have condemned. There's no record of them condemning, saying we condemn Hamas. Anything that Hamas has done, and again, they go and say on October 7th, the Israeli civilians that died, these people say it was killed by Israel's military itself. They say Israel did that to their own civilians, and there's always an if there. There's always an if there, if Hamas has done that. But let's continue.
With Hamas, as we are seeing, with these people that are shoving rods off people's ass and raping people on videographic evidence, and you have 3,000 people, you talk about the hostages, you've got 3,000 people in essentially captivity, according to Human Rights Watch and B'Tselem, who are prisoners of war of Israel, and we are spending a fraction of the time speaking about them as compared to speaking about the hostages. This shows you the inherent bias.
Well, there's no comparison.
Yeah, there is no comparison because when Hamas goes and commits human rights atrocities, they record it, they brag about it. That was their mission. When it happens in Israel, it's a few soldiers doing something wrong and the system takes actions against it. One is celebrated, one is the mission, one is the others, but from the Israeli side is some people not following the rules. Okay, so Hamas is actually following the rules, when they are committing atrocities. On the Israeli side, when you see human rights violations, that's because the soldiers are not following the rules. That's the main difference.
There's no comparison between innocent hostages
Exactly.
who
Why?
did nothing wrong and people who are being charged with criminal offenses.
They're
If
not charged with
innocent,
criminal
they'll be
offences.
found
That's why you're meant to know better. You're
and
meant to know better
but they
than
are
that.
charged
They're
with
not charged
security
with criminal
offenses.
offences.
But you
They're
can't,
not charged with criminal offences.
compare.
They are
you can't
arrested
compare
without
a three-year-
charge.
You can't
They are
compare a
arrested without
three-year-old
charge. They're not
baby.
charged with
War.
criminal
Don't
offences.
shout
War.
over each other. We can't.
It's war. You can't
Yeah.
you can't arrest 1,000 people and charge them immediately. It never happens during a war.
I think he's using police standards on soldiers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when it comes to a police arresting and a soldier arresting, the standards are different. So when we have a soldier abides by a different set of standards than police. So if you're looking at the policing of a city, then you have certain standards that you have to abide by. But when you're talking about a soldier in a war, the arrest standards are completely different. Yeah, I think he's mixing them up.
Hear the answer.
Well, he's
Can't
lying to the
compare a
public.
Allow him to
three-year-old baby
respond.
Go
to
ahead.
somebody who's a member of Hamas.
Say that
Sorry,
again.
Adam, we couldn't hear you because he was shouting.
I was shouting. Say it
Why
again.
didn't
He
you
says
hear
the
him?
I'm saying
3,000.
you
Yeah.
can't compare
Alan,
a
he says the
three-year-old
3,000.
baby.
Alan, just to be clear, he said the 3,000 people he's talking about were all arrested without charge, and therefore they've not been charged with crimes. Your response to that?
Well, if they were, they should be released. Nobody should be arrested
Good
without
boy.
charge. If you're
Good
held for a
boy.
security
Don't be so-
reason.
What the
What
fuck
is
is
this?
wrong with this man? I mean, boy, what? Like, I mean, he's saying something you agree with. By the way, I think Alan is wrong about this. I think Alan is applying. I mean, he's a lawyer. He should know better than me. Maybe I'm wrong about this. But I'll look this up. I don't think soldiers are required when they arresting to charge you like the police does. But even if at the end of the day, Alan is agreeing with Muhammad here, and instead of being like, okay, we agree with this, he's insulting him even on things that they agree with. Like what do you want him to do then? Like, you're insulting good boy. I mean, what's
Good
what's
boy.
what's the point? Can you, Roy? What's the point of saying that?
He want to make it appear like he changed him. Like Dershowitz was about to say something else, but then Muhammad Hijab came and he made him say what he said now. So he's a good boy. That's what's going on here.
But what's the point of saying that?
He's alpha. He's strong and he's winning. That's what's going on here. Everyone is changing their mind because of his pearls of wisdom. That's what's up. If he
Yeah,
says
I'm
good
actually
boy,
looking-
it could only mean that the person who said something before changed his mind because of you. So you say, well, good boy. Now you listen to me. When my dog does something that I asked him, I say, good boy. Right?
What? Hey,
It didn't
look at
happen,
this.
right?
I'm
But that's
so-
what it make it appear to be.
Roy, I am so proud of myself because Alan Dershowitz is a lawyer, right?
Yeah,
And I have more. I just have more I was correct about a legal
that's
thing,
what you look there.
and Alan was wrong. Okay, so here, soldiers in war operate under different rules than police. In war, soldiers don't need to charge individuals before detaining them.
No, he's going to say that.
Their
He's going to say
actions-
that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's
hold
going
on.
to say that.
Hold on. Their actions are governed by military laws and rules of engagement, often allowing detention without immediate charges if it serves a military objective. Okay, so Muhammad Hijab was wrong about that. If they're arrested without charge, that's not against the rules. But let's see what Alan is saying.
Well, if they were, they should be released. Nobody should be arrested
Good
without
boy.
charge. If you're
Good
held for a
boy.
Don't be
security
so
reason.
pathetic.
I will
During
say
the
what I
war,
want. It's
great-
uncensored.
great-
Good boy.
let me
Everybody's
finish, please.
pathetic.
Let me
It's
make
childish.
my
Boy.
No, he's
point.
going to
Try and
say
have a
that.
Can I
proper
make my
debate.
Oh my God, what the?
No, he's going to say that now. Exactly now he's going to say
I'll
that.
say
please.
what I like.
Can I make my point? Let me make my point. Great Britain confined tens of thousands of people without charges during the Second World War.
Two wrongs
The
don't
United
make a
States
right.
did the same.
Two wrongs
I
don't make a right.
was
Should we talk about what
strongly
Hitler done?
opposed.
Let's talk about what
Please
Hitler
let
done.
me make my point.
He's not saying two wrongs make a right. He's talking about the standards in war. Like, he doesn't even
Really?
listen to what Alan is saying.
Point. I'm opposed to that. I wrote an article against
Good boy.
administrative detention. But you
Good.
can't.
Oh, so Alan is saying the standard that we have in war that is different from policing. He thinks that's he's against that. Okay, okay. So he thinks
Yeah,
he doesn't agree with this.
it's his
Okay,
opinion,
okay.
but
Yeah, okay.
Compare
But even if that's opinion, Israel should not, until you could change that globally, Israel shouldn't be, you, applying to itself a standard that is nowhere else in the world. If you manage to change the world where soldiers are applying the same standard that police is, when it comes to arresting, then sure, then Israel should abide by that standard as well. But right now, why are we expecting more from Israel than other armies in the world? Like, that makes no sense.
because
that no
Good.
matter
Go on, what?
no, I said because that's the answer.
Yes. Yes.
but you
Good.
can't compare that no
Good.
matter how
Can you
bad
stop
it
this,
is.
Mohammed? It's
You
very
can't
very
compare it
tedious already.
to 3-year-olds being
Debating.
kidnapped, to people
listening to his
being
points.
raped and murdered. You can't compare what happened on October 7th to what Israel has done
Yes, you
in
can't,
terms
because
of
on the one
security
hand,
prisoners.
you've got
There's
30,000
no
people, and on the other hand,
comparison
you've got
at
about
all.
100.
And stop
That's 30
interrupting me,
times
please.
more.
Now
That's 30 times more. If you want us to take you seriously, if you want us to take this coverage seriously, if you want us to take
Look at he's like, if you want us to take you seriously, you're the one who's shouting "good boy" and doesn't let Alan make a point. You want people are taking Alan seriously. You made a fool out of yourself. But you know what? Even though he made a fool out of himself, even though he embarrassed himself, they're going to continue to invite him because this is a circus. This is entertaining to people, apparently. Even if he's not making a point, he just has to come and be an entertaining clown, and Piers might be annoyed by him, and he might right now he might go and say, like, you know what, this man is annoying, we shouldn't invite him again. But then they look at the views and like, holy crap, the views are so high, and they will invite him back again. That's how it works.
That's what I said, that if anyone has a leverage, is Muhammad Hijab. If anyone has some
Right.
kind of leverage, that's him.
That makes sense. Yes.
Western media seriously, then let's, for God's sake, talk about proportionality as your favorite word. We're talking about 30,000 people detained in prisons on the one hand, and 100 people who are hostages. And yet we have managed somehow to spend way more time proportionally.
You said 3,000.
Yeah,
The
because that's
others-
a hostage and that's a prisoner. That's a different
Yes.
thing.
I mean, he says it himself. It's amazing. Yeah, you're like, oh, why are we talking about the hostages more than the prisoners? Well, because prisoners deserve to be in prison, and hostages shouldn't be hostages. That's
know,
the
there are-
freaking difference.
There are tens of thousands of prisoners in the United States. Why do we always talk about the single ones that are kidnapped as a hostage? What is that about?
Yes. Unbelievable.
1,000 a minute ago. Which one is it? 3,000?
Sorry, 3,000. Go
At
ahead.
the moment, Alan Dershowitz is being very civilized in the way he's debating.
I'm sure you're going to say that.
You're just making
He might have
ad
leverage
hominem
on you.
attacks and shouting all
He's
the
your
time.
friend.
No one can understand it when you
Have you
shout
met him
all the time.
before?
Oh yeah, so he has leverage over you. It's not because you're acting like a buffoon and he's acting so civilized. That's not why Piers is defending him. It's the only explanation for this could be that he has leverage over Piers. That's the only explanation. Okay, sure.
I know Alan well.
Oh, you know him well.
I respect him very much.
Oh, yes, you do.
He's one of America's top lawyers.
Oh, you do. You know him well. So this is if you have defended Epstein and now you are friends with somebody who defended Epstein, and you say, I know him well and he's my friend. Oh, that's all the evidence I need.
Yeah.
Oh, you know him very well, don't you? Very well.
This is done. Let's wrap it up.
This is why these people believe in Islam. Okay, because this is the standard for evidence.
Top lawyers.
Yeah, he is.
And you're an unbiased person.
Oh, apparently Piers Morgan said that Muhammad Hijab is now banned from his show. People were saying in the chat. I don't know. Is that true? Wow.
That's
Okay.
nice.
That means
That's
Piers
nice.
actually has a standard more than just viewership. Well, good job, Piers.